Hello, and welcome to the Hello You Show, where we talk about big dreams and taking real action. Through transformative stories, a bit of neuroscience, and real conversations, this show is here to help you explore creating your next level life with authenticity and passion. I'm Jessica Rice, a design techie and former engineering leader turned vision evolution coach on a mission to help other women rise up and lead a life of purpose. So get cozy and say hello again to the real you. Hello and welcome back to the Hello You Show. My name is Jessica Rice and I am your host for today. And today we are so honored to have a very special guest with us, Brian Snow, who is a sportscaster and talk show host of the Brian Snow Show, which talks about sports through a different lens. He is the owner and CEO of Snowman Multimedia, bringing nearly 3 decades of experience as a play-by-play broadcaster and over 20 years as a passionate sports talk host. Known for his deep insights and engaging commentary, Brian has become a respected figure in the sports media landscape. In addition to his professional achievements, Brian is a pancreatic cancer survivor, a testament to his resilience and strength. He is also a devoted husband to his wife, Jody, and a loving father to his 3 children, Sonia, Cheyenne, and Dakota. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us today. I'm so appreciative of you being with us.
I am appreciative of you having me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, I'd love to know, where are you joining us from today, just so we can all know?
Just south of Indianapolis, about an hour south of Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. How's the weather? Is it getting colder there now, or is it?
Would you believe it's 80 degrees?
I actually would. We've been having some really strange weather too.
To say the least. I mean, I've been through Indian summer before living in Chicago, but not this late.
Well, hopefully we find some moderate temperatures before it goes right into winter. That would be the ideal.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to. Just a few moderate temperatures before we get smacked by the winter storm.
Exactly. Uh, so I know that you have this incredible story. And so to just dive right in, would you mind sharing with us just a bit about your story, what you've overcome? Because I know that intro did not tell everything.
No, it didn't. Um, what have I overcome? Attempts of suicide. Because in 2018, I was ready to give up on everything. Why? Because I was lonely. I felt lonely, and I kept hanging out at Starbucks in Michigan City, Indiana, while I was homeless at the time. And I kept seeing couples walk in and their children walk in, and I'm still dealing with the painful early death of my daughter Donna. And I was getting ready. I said, "Screw it. I'm done." Well, a pretty lady raced the clock and rescued me and pulled me back from the cliff. And it's like at that time she said, "I don't know you, but I need you." So that was the day I met Jody. A couple months later, met her in person, and she has not left my side, nor will I leave hers. This is through a move to and from North Carolina, my diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, which started with blood clots in both my lungs. And that's a tale in and of itself, because I took a fall in the kitchen. We were in North Carolina at the time. I fell in the kitchen, and I was unresponsive, wound up in the hospital in Henderson, and they saw the blood clots in both my lungs. And they had to fly me via helicopter, my first and to date only helicopter ride, from Henderson to Durham to a Duke University hospital, which is where they got the blood clots out of me. Then they discovered the pancreatic cancer. So we had to move from North Carolina back here to Indiana, because my wife was told to get her affairs in order by Duke University Cancer Center. And she wasn't having it. And when I came back to my senses off of the chemo, I wasn't having it either. And in 2022, April 4th, had my surgery to remove the pancreatic cancer. And a year after that, well, less than a year after that, February of 23, was told that I'm in remission. So had a lot happen over the last 3 years. I'm now dealing with an amputated big toe on my right foot, kidney failure, coming back from that. And the whole time, this pretty lady named Jody has been by my side, and she kept reminding me that I promised her a 50-year anniversary. And I plan to do everything in my power and fight as hard as I can to get to that anniversary so I can plan a celebration or have one of my children plan it for us. But from starting off in Chicago as a sportscaster, was married once before, but I wasn't appreciated. And to have Jody in my life now, to say she's a blessing would be a horrible, horrible understatement.
Mhm.
And Jody's the reason I'm here.
Well, it is an incredible story, and thank you for sharing. And you know, it's interesting all of the things that can happen in our lives, and yet we still survive. So I'm hearing how, you've lost your daughter and what that must have felt like. And then also now, having to survive through pancreatic cancer, all of the various things, kidney disease. And I know as a fellow survivor myself, sometimes we get really accustomed to telling kind of the easier story, the one that's the here's the high level. I'd
Mhm.
love to know if you'd be willing to share, and it's such a wonderful testament to your wife and what that must have been like carrying, both of you in some ways through some of that. What do you feel kept you going? What do you feel kept you strong? Because I know there's days where it's hard.
I still have those days where I feel so depressed because I'm disabled. I can't work. Um, as a man, it hurts me. Um, I've said on a blog, Diary of a Mad Snowman, which is going to turn into a book um, early next year. Two things, or the two ways that you can really hurt a man: take away his family, or uh, or take away his ability to produce for his family.
Mm,
And the second one, because of my health, was taken away from me. And I can't tell you how many days I've wrestled with it. And I keep thinking, I have to do something. Well, my beautiful wife said, all you have to do is take care of the house, while I'm taking care of the bills. And I'm reminded of my dad, who fought prostate cancer for 15 years
mm,
and finally succumbed to it in 2007. I miss that man to this day. And his spirit is one of the things that keeps me going. The spirit of my late daughter keeps me going. And Jody keeps me going because I'll say it again. I've had days where I've been so depressed I don't want to get out of bed. I have mornings, when especially on days where I'm scheduled to do my morning show. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to move.
mm,
But I'm slowly starting to realize that if I don't move, I will echo my wife's words, which she said to me one day: I feel like you've given up.
mm,
She said those to me, and I cried, but then I got mad. I got mad at myself because she was right. I felt like giving up, and I thought I was going to not make it through all the difficult days that were ahead of me.
Mm.
So it's tough to deal with at times when you know everything that you've gone through, and yet there's still a voice in your head saying, see, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're unable to work. You're unable to produce for your family. How does that make, and it's not even a question of how it makes you feel. When you hear those voices in your head saying, you can't work, you're disabled, you're not much of a man, are you?
Mm.
I can't tell you for the last 3 years how much I've had to wrestle with that. And there are some days I still wrestle with it.
Mhm.
And some days are tougher than others, quite honestly. It's led to a lot of late nights. It's led to me climbing into bed. Instead of, my wife jokes all the time, at a decent hour, I'm climbing into bed at 2 in the morning. Part of it is to work off the depression. The other
Mm.
part of it is I want my business to take off so badly so I can look at my wife and say, you don't have to work anymore. I can look at my daughters and my son and say, whatever you guys need, I got you. That's the level I'm so fighting to get to, because Jody has done so much for the kids already and for me. Now, I don't look at it as how much of a man I'm not. I look at it as how much of a man I am, because I want to stick around for a length of time. I want to continue to see my children. I want to continue to see my grandchildren. I want to continue to see them grow. I want to see my grandkids grow up. I want to grow old with Jody, and I want to see my children continue to grow and continue to be able to come to me, with any problems or anytime they want to talk or anything like that. I want to I want to be here for them.
Mhm.
So, and I'll say it again and I'll continue to say it because it's so true. I've had days and I continue to have days where I don't feel like much of a man because I'm not out there working. But then I realize there's a reason I was picked to go through this, survive it, and tell my story. So now I've added a gear. I didn't switch gears. I've added a gear, and I have a GoFundMe in place where I want to see every stadium in the country. My wife's idea, but I want to use that tour to talk to audience. I want to use that tour to be a speaker and encourage people. You can get through anything, because with all the stats that my wife showed me about men and the survival rate of pancreatic cancer, I'm not even supposed to be here.
Mhm.
I was supposed to be gone within 6 months of being told to get, of my wife being told to get her affairs in order. But
Mhm.
not even 6 months after that, I'm having surgery to remove the tumor from my body. Here I am. Here I am. They tried everything, and I have to say it the plainest way I know how. The enemy tried every trick in the book to get rid of me. They used pancreatic cancer. They used type 2 diabetes. They used every trick to try to take me down physically.
Mhm.
They used people who I thought were friends in my life, and the enemy turned them against me. And I was accused of something that I would never, ever, ever do. I was accused of inappropriately touching two female students at Marquette Catholic High School in Michigan City. which was a falsehood beyond all falsehoods because I consider all those kids my children. Every student and every parent backed me up. That happened in 2016. And since 2016, it's been a devil of a time getting back into broadcasting full time and supporting myself and supporting my family. Then I made the decision, screw it. It's what I know, it's what I love to do, and that's how I'm going to do it.
Mm,
I fought back from everything else. I can fight back from this, and I will.
mm. Wow, I definitely feel your story, and I feel the weight of what you're saying and the words that are coming out. And it's interesting because yeah, I've watched your show and how you come off on your, with your show and everything. You are this joy, this light, and you're bringing sports and you're talking about all these different pieces in a very real way. And if I'm here, as a faith person, what do you feel like is that purpose that's under the surface for you with starting the show? And I think you're touching on what I think every entrepreneur thinks in terms of starting a business and really wanting to help, our families too, so that we can continue to rise up and have lives that have meaning and fulfillment. So what do you feel like that purpose is under the surface for you?
Well, it's now a threefold purpose. One is to help my family and continue to help them. Two is to spread my message. And three is to touch as many lives as I can and keep telling people, look, you may go through a lot, you may have your bad days, but if I can get through it, and doggone it, so can you.
Mm. Well, and I know with your show, I mean, you came from broadcasting, and
Mm.
now you have this show, and it's doing quite well. What what sparked that for you? The getting in, back into that and doing it in a way that worked well for you?
Well, the two shows I do, Snowman in the morning, that's my sports show, and that starts the day. And then the Brian Snow show just came off as an idea because for a while I was afraid to brand my name with the show behind it. But then I started getting guests. I started talking to them. I started sharing their stories, which has now become a part of the fabric of what the show is. And it's what I do. It's what I do. I talk to people beyond the second show, Brian Snow show. It's beyond. It's sports and beyond. And my brilliant executive producer Cole Johnson, who's also a very very dear friend, has the perfect phrase for it, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. And I really feel that when I do my afternoon show and share stories from people from all walks of life. It's an hour out of someone's day. It's an hour out of my day, but an hour into someone's day that needs a lift.
Mm,
That's why I do both shows. I start with my sports talk in the morning with Snowman in the morning and lift people up into laughter and into smiles and into sports debates, take them away from reality for 2 hours. And then later on, I come back and I share a story, an incredible story of someone who, like me, has been through hell and has come out on the other side saying, you can't beat me. You
mm,
can't stop me. you can't take me away from the things and the people that I love most. You can't do it and you won't do it. And I am living proof that it can happen.
Mm. What do you think about what do you think sports does to inspire people? I wasn't really a sports fan until I met my husband, who was very much a sports fan, like two opposites. But what do you, we know from your perspective, what do you think sports does to help people?
Makes them smile, makes them laugh, makes them wish that they were there. But if they can't be there, they're there through the television or through the radio. And I listen to a lot of sports on the radio. It's uh it's a way to get away from a lot of things that happen in the world that make people sad.
Mm,
It's a way, if only for a few hours, to, like I said, get away, to
mm,
be in that verse, in that multiverse where you're screaming at the television for your favorite team to do something right, knowing you're nowhere near the stadium, but it connects people,
mm,
whether they're a fan of your team or they don't like your team. It connects people and it gets them talking about something other than what's going on in the world, which depresses a lot of people. It sends vibes through sports. You get vibes of, hey, we can be together without having it being a tragic event that brings us together. It's just a vibe and a half of enjoying something with people you love and people you know, where you can talk about it for a long time and not have the focus be on everyday life, which can get rather depressing.
mm, mhm. So I'm hearing from you then that sports is a positive connector of people and really bringing greater joy into our lives,
Mhm.
as maybe as a way to keep us going sometimes. And I know there's always incredible, inspiring stories from various athletes and teams that have, the underdog and all of that. Which, by the way, you have a fantastic announcer's voice. I can very much see why
Thank
that makes
you.
sense for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
What do you feel then with everything that you've gone through and then starting, both of your shows? What do you feel like that's taught you about yourself?
Persistence pays off, resilience stays with you, and never to give up. I always close Snowman in the Morning with, if your dreams don't scare you, then they're simply not big enough. I saw that on a sign,
Mm,
and that phrase stuck with me. And I've worked it into my show. And I said, you know what? It's the truth. Because if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big. They're not big enough. Your dreams should be frightening the daylights out of you, but at the same time, it should make you want to chop them all down. Every single dream has a mountain,
mm,
and on that mountain top is what you want to achieve. And there are plenty of mountains that we all have on a daily basis and on a yearly basis. I am a fan of Jimi Hendrix. And he said, I'm standing next to a mountain. I'll chop it down with the edge of my hand. That right there drives me more than anything else.
Mhm.
standing next to every mountain that was thrown in my way, and I'll chop them all down with the side of my hand. And I'll say it again, I'm not even supposed to be here. I wasn't even supposed to make it to 50. And I'm 52 right now. I'm enjoying life again. And I want to turn this into me spreading my message to any and everyone that will listen. And I want to use sports to connect everybody, which is why um, I am executing my wife's idea of the Snowman Stadium tour. And to take a tour to see all the stadiums I've only seen on television and to be there, be part of the press coverage, to see the games in person, man, and to spread a message and to spread a positive message.
Mhm.
I'll say it again, to spread a positive message. And
Mhm.
that message I borrow from the late Jim Valvano, who was for a long time the coach of the North Carolina State Wolfpack men's basketball team. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. I will admit I've had days where I've wanted to, but now, not a chance.
Mm. So I love that. And I love that there's these mountains next to our dreams and we just have to, and there is everything that we do that's a challenge in life is going to have
Mhm.
a mountain, whether it's all relative too, right? In our mind. Would you say that I don't know in your experience, but I know a lot of us too, who we put ourselves out there. A lot of the people who have decided to either start a business, start a podcast, do something greater,
Mhm.
have gone through something.
You know what drives the people who really want to see this succeed? It's the same thing that drives some people away from pursuing their dream. A little four-letter word we like to call fear. Fear of failure, fear of missing out, fear of something stopping you from climbing that mountain. My favorite announcer of all time, growing up in Chicago, when I first heard the voice of Jim Durham, who called Bulls games for many years back home in Chicago, um, I first heard him and I said, if he can do it, so can I. And when I first heard his voice in 1985 on the radio calling a Bulls game as they were playing the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs, my dream was handed to me. If he can do it, I can do it. And I have been doing this now almost 30 years. And it's incredible to think about that I've been through everything that I've been through health wise, everything that I've been through emotionally, surviving pancreatic cancer, surviving blood clots in both my lungs, surviving depression, and surviving an abusive relationship. And I'm still kicking. That should inspire any and everybody to go after what they want and not be scared.
Mhm.
Now, it's human nature to be scared because you're stepping into a very big unknown. You're stepping into a huge unknown and you don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, I've developed the attitude of, yeah, I'm stepping into a huge unknown. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Mm.
And I borrow from sports talk host extraordinaire Colin Cowherd when he said, "I may fall flat on my ass with this, and I don't care. I'm doing things a whole lot different now than I did when I first started
Mhm.
and had to learn the ropes and had to learn production, had to learn how to dress for the occasion, and always keep in mind someone is watching that could discover you and that could help or hurt you. Been on both sides of that coin. Go out where the fruit is. Go out on a limb. That's where all the fruit is. Go out
Mhm.
on a limb. Most people are so afraid to go out on a limb and make the safe choices. I was encouraged by my mother for many, many years to do it the right way. Problem with that is, what the hell is the right way? You don't know what your way is the right way. Your way is the right way. Yes, there are straight and narrow roads that people take. Like, okay, I can get here, I can get here. I have to do this to get here. I have to do this to get here. And I'll look into the unknown and it frightens the daylights out of them. And nope, I'm not touching it. Me, I jumped in with both feet when I called my first game on December 7th, 1995. I knew what I wanted to do, and I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up ever. I've had to call a lot of games virtually here in studio because of my health. But next year, when I officially celebrate season 30, I'm going to be in a booth somewhere. That is my goal, to really get back to doing sports and sports coverage the way that I can and being fully healthy, back from cancer, back from a toe amputation, back from kidney failure while doing it. I mean, why waste time being afraid? Why waste time being afraid? I've
Mhm.
wasted enough time being afraid. I've wasted enough time having people in my ear telling me, try this, try that. Now, advice is terrific, okay? Don't get me wrong. Advice is terrific. But if it doesn't apply to you, don't use it. It's simple. And it took me 20 plus years to realize how simple it is to take someone's advice and incorporate it into what you do, and not to take someone's advice and look at it as, nope, you're a roadblock.
Mhm.
This is as true as I can get it. This is as raw and as real as I can make it.
So true. So true, and I think this is really inspiring because, the whole point of this show is to help inspire others who do feel like maybe there is that there we all have a seed
Mhm.
inside of us. But those who are listening, it's always there's always a degree of fear, and the only way that we can get through fear is by taking action.
Mhm.
The only way. We all have a degree of risk that's required.
Yep. Yep, we do. And most people don't wanna take it.
Yeah.
90% of the people don't wanna take the risk. And then there are those of us that are saying, "Ah, screw this. Let's do it."
Yep, yep.
Sometimes, and I've learned this over the years, and it's so true. I know you've learned it. I know other entrepreneurs have learned it, but it's a very simple thing. And I want to credit my dad and my wife for communicating this to me in different ways.
Mm,
Sometimes you just got to say, what the hell, and go for it. You just got to, yeah, You just gotta say, screw it and go for it. Because if you don't, there's always the what if, and the what if is gonna knock you down before you knock that first mountain down. And when you knock that first mountain down, all the what ifs will go away because you put in the work, the time, the blood, the sweat, and the tears to learn everything you need to learn, apply it to your business, apply it to your craft, and have your craft be your paycheck, man. Mine is my voice.
Mhm.
My voice, my production ability, my way of helping people launch their podcasts and get their peripherals, their podcast peripherals out there. Screw it. Sometimes you that's you s- sometimes you just gotta say, what the hell? Because if you don't and someone picks up your idea, and my dad taught me this, if you don't go after what you want
Yep.
and someone picks up your idea, you're gonna be kicking yourself for the rest of your life because you look and you go, that was mine. Everybody comes into this world with a dream. When they grow up, it gets bigger and it spreads and it has tentacles and it has this branch and that branch. Go for it. Why? I learned in 1990 when I went away to college. Why wait? When I heard Greg Suko call Northeast Missouri State's women's basketball games, when I heard Jim Durham call Bulls games, when I heard Wayne Larrivee, who's a very dear friend, and I recently had him on my morning show, when I had Wayne Larrivee on the show, and I met Wayne in person in 2013 in Indianapolis at Butler University. I was there to call a women's basketball game with UIC, University of Illinois Chicago, and Butler. I saw him, and the smallest part of me was afraid to go up and introduce myself and tell him how much I love his work and his style and his way he calls games and everything. But another part of me said, go get it. I introduced myself to him. He shook my hand. He took a picture with me. I've always been in contact with him. And recently, this past summer, he was on my morning show. And I even surprised my crew with it because I I threw it. I said the heck with it. I'll try it. I messaged him and I said, "Would you like to come on to my morning show so we can talk Jordan Love and the Packers?" And I'm thinking, okay, I took a shot. He's probably not going to come on because, his schedule is so hectic. About 30 seconds later, I see a message going, "Sure, when can I come on?" What? What? And that Thursday morning, no one on the crew knew I had scored this interview. And I told him 12:15 Eastern time, which is 11:15 in Wisconsin. You can, I got the slot open for you. When he appeared in the back room and I introduced him and I saw the shock on my crew's face, and there was shock on my face because I'm thinking I'm talking to one of my idols and Wayne Larrivee. This is one of my voices from my childhood in Chicago when he was the voice of the Bears. And then later on, voiced the Chicago Bulls on WGN television. I've seen the mountaintop and I plan to scale all of them. I plan to scale all of them. And I said it began with a simple philosophy of if they can do it, I can do it. It's true, but I've added something to it. I'm going to do everything I had planned to do, every big event, the Super Bowl, the World Series, the NBA World Championship, the NCAA Men's and Women's Championship. Hell, I did a virtual call for the Women's Championship here in studio. if they can do it, so can I.
Mhm.
And I'm using the drive that I have and a lot of 21st century technology. A saying I always use: 21st century technology with 20th century journalism, which
Mm,
means being honest, calling the game like you see it. Yes, you're cheering for your team, but when you see errors, you talk about it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard Jim Durham in the early days of the Jordan era, um he said, "You can have all the plays drawn up that you want. The execution is up to you." And it
mhm.
stuck with me. And it sticks with me every day, man.
Yeah.
Who says you can't? You are your own worst enemy when you say can't.
Yeah.
You you're your own worst enemy when you say you can't do something. Baloney. I don't buy it and you shouldn't either. It's like I'm sounding like I'm 10 years old and I'm 52, but I don't care. Who cares? Oh, you can't do this. Oh, yeah? Watch me. That's the simplest attitude I have taken into 29 years of broadcasting.
Mhm.
Well, you can't call the women's championship. Oh, yeah? Watch me. 3,100 views for that championship between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the South Carolina Gamecocks. You can't do the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah? Watch this. And I did the Super Bowl. The Chiefs and the 49ers. I was worn out. I was tired. I was exhausted. But doggone it, I called a Super Bowl. And I did it with 21st century technology and new school technology and an old school play-by-play style.
Mm.
Oh,
Well, I
answer
love
the
it
question.
because I think that's the thing, right? It's like we don't really hear other entrepreneurs tell us that we can't do it. We hear it from people who are afraid to try for themselves.
Bingo. Those who say you can't do it are afraid to do it themselves.
Yeah.
Me, I have a simple philosophy. Watch this.
Yep.
Simple as it gets. Watch this. If you think I can't do anything, stop me. If you think I'm unable to accomplish everything I want to accomplish, stop me. I dare you. As I often say, find the lie.
Mhm. Well, the funny thing is, the truth is that when we start out, none of us know exactly what we're doing. We're just doing,
Yep.
and then we're learning.
Yep. You take the first step. The first step is always the most difficult,
Mhm.
and that's to step out on your own.
Yeah.
I don't want to work for a media company. I want to have a media company, doggone it.
Mhm.
I want to have the biggest, the baddest, and the best media company. And now, for the first time in a while, especially after my fight with cancer, I'm getting some people that actually believe in what I'm doing. That's the start of it. When you have people in your small circle that believe in what you're doing, take off.
Yeah.
There is nothing and my dad taught me this, there's nothing in this world that you can't do. And the only reason you can't do it is because you're stopping yourself from doing it.
There you go. Yeah.
You're stopping yourself from doing it. Don't. It ain't worth the struggle. If you feel it's worth the struggle and the trouble, to climb every mountain that's in front of you, then doggone it, take an axe and start swinging. It's worth it for me. It's worth it for me.
Mhm.
And I've often said that I want to turn my company into $1 billion company. In fact, my wife gave me a little inspiration when she said, "Your show is going to be your moneymaker. Your play by play is going to be your fun money." And I started thinking about it and I said, you know what? She's right. Because of all the efforts I put into my show, all the efforts, it's like, she's right. So now everything gets my attention.
Mhm.
Everything to the last detail. And I know you do this when you prep for your interviews and you prep for your show as well. Every detail gets gone over with a fine toothed comb. And when you miss a detail, you make a mental note about it and say, okay, I can add this for next time.
Mhm.
Because as long as there's technology, there will always be a next time.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that leads me to then my question, because I know you have some amazing guests on your show who have some incredible stories as well.
Mhm.
So how can people get a hold of you?
There's so many ways they can do so, but you can email me at Snowman Multimedia at gmail.com. You can watch my show on YouTube at youtube.com/ at Snowman Multimedia. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook with the same ID, and that's SNWMN Multimedia. Let me tell your story. Whether you need podcast production, audio editing, video editing, or you just want to suggest an incredible guest to me, get a hold of me.
Well, we'll put everything into the show notes for sure. So it goes without standing that I think you have an incredible message. You've overcome so much, and you are inspiring people with your story, not only with the fun that you bring with the sports, but also with your story and everything that you are sharing with us today. And so it might seem redundant, but if there is someone who is maybe feeling like they're going through a real struggle right now, a real challenge, and they're wondering if they can make it through, what would your message be to them?
Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying. Don't ever stop pushing. Don't ever stop. You know what? My friend AB says it best. Keep it grinding, keep it pushing, keep it moving. Period. That's what. Keep it grinding, keep it pushing, keep it moving. Keep it grinding, keep it moving, keep it pushing. Period. You can't give up just because someone told you, oh, you're not able to do this. Look them in the eye and go, watch this. That's as simple as, look, that's as simple as it gets for me. Watch this. Like, oh, I can, huh? I can't at age 52 use a few years and turn my company into $1 billion company where I can help my family? Ha! Watch this. My next question is like, says you. It's for me, it's pretty simple. I mean, I've had days where I've struggled. Lord knows I've had days where I've struggled, but now it's like, okay, I may struggle for a while, but it's temporary. And I'll put it out there right now. If you need an intro for your podcast, audio or video, more video than audio because everything's going video now, everything's going simulcast. If you need audio editing done, a logo, or you just have a guest suggestion for me, get a hold of me. snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. It's out there.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And so, as your final words, keep it grinding, keep it moving, keep
Keep
it
it pushing.
pushing. I'll have to write that in a big like sticker on my
Mm-hmm.
here somewhere. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, inspiring our audience, inspiring me. Together, I think what also rings through in your message is that together, when we have people, the right people, who are there to encourage and support us, anything is possible. Just listen to
Absolutely.
the people who are encouraging you. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Brian. I so appreciate it and
I
enjoy the rest
appreciate
of your
you.
day. And
Thank you.
thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you for tuning in to the Hello You Show. It's been a pleasure to have you with us on this journey today. If you found value in our conversation and want to support the show, please take a moment to like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd also deeply appreciate it if you could leave us a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also enables others seeking inspiration and authenticity to discover our community. Until next time, keep embracing your story with purpose.